once it's gone, it's gone. And once I'm gone, it's over. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm just making myself
sad.
sad.
The end? Is that the end of the episode? Are we done right now? That's it.
I know.
You know what? Thanks for listening, everybody. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Off to Broadway, the podcast where we deep dive into anything and everything musical theater. I'm Tara.
I'm Stefania.
And in today's episode, we're talking about Just in Time. I was going to say Broadway's Just in Time, but, like, you know, it is just what it is.
It's just in time.
Yep.
Just in time. That's how he sings it on the
Should I
cast
just
album.
insert the, like, little clip of that right here? Great.
Anytime we say it.
That's a lot of editing work for me.
That's
We don't have
a lot of
time
work.
for that.
Just do it one time.
Maybe just the first time. This is, you know, just another review from our New York trip, which is kind of a long time ago now, but
I know.
It's kind of like in conversation again because the cast recording just recently came out. So people are falling in love with Just in Time, and people are still doing the splish splash dance all over the internet. So
I know. Not me.
Not you. But, like, it keeps coming up every so often. So we have, you know, Jonathan Groff to thank for that. I guess, like, should we start here? I don't remember if we talked about the day. I think we did briefly, but I don't know if we, like, gave full details about, like, how this came to be. I think
How we
talked
came
about
to
it.
see Just in Time.
Yes, and then also, like, our rush experience and, like, what we did, where we stood, like,
Where we
all of
stood.
that jazz. Yeah.
Yes. So I think on our lead up to New York, there were a lot of shows we wanted to see. As we spoke about previously, we had to pick between this or Gypsy, and we obviously picked this.
Well, we had to pick between this Smash or Gypsy, and we chose
Smash
Smash
or
and
Gypsy.
this over
It was
Gypsy.
Smash. Yeah, it was on the
Gypsy's
Smash
now closed.
Gypsy has now ended.
Yeah.
And Just in Time is still running.
Yeah.
Smash also closed. So
Yes.
that's where we're at on that. So yeah, this was kind of maybe a tentative show on our list. We're huge Jonathan Groff fans, but as far as jukebox musicals, you know, not necessarily always, especially bio jukebox musicals, not necessarily always something we're so excited to see. But when performances started and previews started, you know, we started to see clips of that curtain call. And I personally just like fell in love with the curtain call and just the energy of the show, and just seeing that little clip of the bows of that ending is the best marketing that show could have ever done, because it called me, I don't know if it called you to see Just in Time. Like, it made me so much more excited for something that I thought might have been just like a stale, boring concept. And so it kind of immediately jumped to the top of our list as something to see while we were in New York.
Yeah, I would say, I don't remember exactly when, but, you know, every so often when we would come on here to record while we were planning this trip, we would either, before we started recording or after we started recording, like, look at that spreadsheet to be like, what can we place where? And very close to when we actually left, like, this became a non-negotiable, and we were going. It was just a matter of, like, what day were we going? Because, again, like, if we flash back to in April, we were around Tony cutoff time. A lot of opening nights were happening when we were there. So there were certain days that, like, no performances were happening for some shows, which just added to our jigsaw puzzle of where to see things.
We walked by the red carpet earlier on our trip. So we
did.
It really was.
Yeah.
Really was
and
happening.
also, it might have been, I think you were at maybe Happy Ending when I went to go see what was
Scope it out.
happening at Just in Time. Like, there was a few times when we were like, should we just go see what's happening? Because, like, we didn't know. But also, like, again, Jonathan Groff.
While we were there, we moved our plans of what to see on what night. We were going to see it Thursday night. Then we ended up seeing it Sunday. So.
And, like, even though it didn't end up being, it did end up being our final slow shot. It did show slot. It didn't necessarily need to be our final show slot because we had a dramatic flight issue that happened. But, like, I am so happy that this was the final thing that we saw on this trip because, like, it was so good. Like, we'll get into it, but it was so like, there was, I don't know. I don't think I've seen a single review that's like, I walked out of that show hating it. I think, like, everybody finds something to love in it. It was also iconically the same day that Tom Hanks was in the audience, and Jonathan Groff has since spoken about that. So, like, you know, it was very fun. But, we had, when we decided that, like, this was kind of, like, high on the list, it's scary to chance that as a final show slot for rushing, especially on a Sunday when the box office doesn't open until noon. So it was also so cold that day.
It was the coldest day.
So cold.
We also potentially have a flight that night out of Newark, so we have to go straight from the theater to the airport, which means we had our luggage with us all day, which actually was good during the rush line because we sat on them.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good seat for, like
good.
the 4 hours that we were in the rush line. I don't remember exactly, but I think we got there around 8?
9. I think we got there
9? Okay, 9. But there were people there already. Like, we were not first in line. It's always funny to rush at the Circle in the Square.
6th or 7th, something like that.
Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong. We went there the day before, 1, to ask about the luggage, 2, to ask if they had any rush tickets. And I'm pretty sure, there's our balloons again. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the box office person told us that, like, it's going to be only standing room. Like, basically here on out.
Yeah, I don't know if they explicitly told us that, but I think when we went, they did have, like, standing room left.
Which was a Saturday, before. So it would have been either a matinee or an evening. I think we were there for either one. We were just there to really ask, like, hey, would you hold our luggage?
On a fact-finding mission, really, about could we store our luggage there, and do you still have any rush tickets available, just to see what the availability was. But yeah, I think our reasoning was we went at around 9 a.m. on Sunday morning because we wanted to be early in order to guarantee that we were going to get a slot. And the thing with Just in Time is because the Circle and Square offers standing room, for the most part, rush seats, especially if the show is sold out, you're guaranteed that there's at least 20 tickets available every day for rush. So it is like a bit of a safer rush. You do have to be there in like before the box office opens, but it is one of the safer rushes in that these will never be sold on telecharge. They will always be rush tickets only.
And there are cases like when the show was not sold out that you can actually get like a rush seat. But
and I've also heard of people being pulled from standing room and sat down
to be sat,
just because like depending on people not showing up. I don't think there's late seating for this show.
No, and also just like sometimes people just like don't show up or like cancellation, whatever. But I will say that like since April, this show has almost been like readily sold out, like all the time. Like there is, and also if it's not sold out, then those tickets are like $400. Like it is super. This is still like I would say one of the hottest tickets. It's selling until January right now, but like on telecharge the lowest ticket price is $99 and the max ticket price is $600. So like there's really no in between. I've seen it on TKTS like a handful of times. I wouldn't say that it's consistently, but I'm also not checking it like I normally am when we're there. But yeah, like even anybody that watched the I'm on the D List vlogs by Erica Henningsen, even she was like, come be in the standing room. Like it's super fun. You're in the show. Like we'll get into it about like our show experience, but like it's not like a standing room I've kind of ever experienced before. And it is, I don't know, it's fun to be there. But what I was going to say earlier is that like it's so interesting always when you're, you know, rushing a show at the Circle in the Square because it's obviously attached to the Gershwin and Wicked is not doing Rush. But there's always someone that's showing up to line up for Wicked and it's like, they're not doing this. No. They're not selling this.
What about the dad who left his daughter's backpack?
And I was like, the box office doesn't open till 12. It's like 9:30 in the morning. He came back though. We saw him come back at 12 to get it.
It's important.
So basically what ended up happening is we waited in line. At one point I left you to get a coffee and a hot chocolate because it was so cold. And then I came back and we ended up getting standing room tickets. What side were we on?
I would call that house left. If you're facing the stage, it's sort of like it's a thrust at this point. It's like 3 sides. But if you're facing the stage, we're on the left. Stage right, house left.
And then we kind of like left. We went to get lunch, with our luggage in New York, and then we came back. And when we came back, they did have to open our bags to search our bags.
Yeah, the security check.
Be prepared for that.
Yeah, I don't know if another theater... I also think we kind of lucked out in seeing this show on the final day where we had our luggages, because I don't know if another theater would have had to the space to hold this. But because we were in standing room, they make you check everything you have. Like, you can barely have a purse.
Yes, that. But also, if you remember, like, the days before, I was, like, yelping to see if the Circle in the Square, like, took luggage. Because we were worried about other theaters. Like,
it was, like, a specific coat check set aside for people at the tables in the center and for standing room. Because the cast's kind of moving around you at some points. So, literally, I put my purse behind me at one point. They're like, that needs to be in front of you. They're like, I was like, oh, okay.
And so the woman next to me showed up with the winter jacket, and we were like, excuse me.
But yeah, we had to check our coats, sweaters, any bags we had, except for like a little crossbody purse that we could wear, because it is tight up there, and you know, iconically, Jonathan Groff ran behind us at one point, so they don't want anything to like block that pathway.
Yeah. So before we like talk about, you know, our experience when we walked into the theater, because that was an experience in itself, you know, we'll start where we always start, but what was your experience, if any, with, relation to Just in Time, if any, prior to seeing it?
So what I knew about Just in Time, I remember when this show was announced, we're like, who asked for this? What is this?
Wait, I actually need to give you credit because I'm pretty sure it was, I don't know if it was our way too early or if it was our season preview, but like you were talking about this show.
I mean, if Groff is there, I'm talking.
But I remember, it must have been our season preview because, like, we had finished our list and you were like, I have a late entry, this show Just in Time, starring Jonathan Groff. And I was like, there's no way this is coming to Broadway. He just finished Merrily. Like, there's absolutely no way. So, like, you were there. You were ready.
I was there. Boots on the ground. You know, I was recently watching an interview. I can't remember who exactly said it. Maybe it was a producer, maybe it was Alex Timbers. But, you know, and so many things on Broadway depend on theater availability, cast availability, sets, licensing, all these things. But they talked about how Jonathan Groff, after having this huge hit run, like 15 months of off-Broadway, then Broadway, of doing Merrily We Roll On, winning a Tony for it, committing to going right back on Broadway the season after, and like committing to a life in the theater. Like that is so important to him. And this is a project he'd been with for a long time. So, you know, when the theater became available, you just kind of had to move on it. But to be like 2 seasons back to back, these kind of revelatory roles for him, crazy.
And so, also, like, to that point of, like, this is the way that this is set up, and we'll talk about the structure, like, if he's not in it, like, this show is him. So I would be, like, surprised what would happen when he says if he's leaving. Like, if you're not going to stunt cast this, and I literally don't know anybody that is at the level of Jonathan Groff. I just don't think that the show runs without him. Obviously, there's an understudy, because, of course, there's an understudy.
He did Broadway and Bryant Park.
I was going to say, at time of record, like, he has yet to go on stage, but he has done the Broadway and Bryant Park.
Jonathan Groff is really good about attendance. I mean, take your sick days, take your vacation if you have to. Like, I think that's fine. But Jonathan Groff is very reliably in shows.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky. But anyway, my relationship. So, didn't really know much about the musical. What I knew about Bobby Darin himself, the real person, is, you know, as someone who went to dance competitions, I have seen many a tap solo to Mac the Knife. I have seen many a 5-year-old jazz dance to Splish Splash. With a little bathtub and rubber duckies, you know. So like these songs kind of that were just like in the culture, you know. I knew Beyond the Sea. These are songs that I don't even know if I knew who the original artist was, but that were like familiar to me. But beyond that, beyond those like big hits, let's say that have kind of transcended Bobby Darin himself, I didn't really know much about him. You know, I assumed he was a sort of knockoff Frank Sinatra, if you will. I don't know. What about you, Tara? What was your kind of pre-existing relationship here?
Nothing. Zero. I had none. As someone that didn't grow up in the dance competition world, the only song I knew was Splish Splash. I had no...
Beyond the Sea?
No. I had like... Once I heard these songs in the musical, I was like, oh, I've heard these like once or twice, but like I don't know these songs. I don't know who Bobby Darin is. The only reason I'm here is for Jonathan Groff is basically what it is. Because like, again, let's be real about this. If you were to tell me that, you know, they're doing a Bobby Darin bio jukebox musical, my favorite genre of musical, with a nobody, I'd be like, skip, we're not seeing this. Why would we see this? But then, you know, you attach lovable, adorable Jonathan Groff to this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll stand outside for 4 hours waiting to get a standing room ticket for this show. And then stand up
throughout the whole show. So much standing. I wore
whatever
my
you
Nikes.
Say, Jonathan Groff.
Like, I wasn't even in a fashion shoe. I was in my running shoe. I was going to change.
You were going to change your shoe, but then you were like, no.
Like, who cares? Who
It's
cares?
because the boots had burned you like the day before.
The boots always burned me. I was committed to fashion except for on that final day. I don't even think we took a single picture that final day, like full body. I was in my, not to talk about me, I was in my like navy blue matching set. And
Yes.
so I was giving fashion. However, we didn't take a single full body photo that day. So I was in my Nike running comfort shoes.
And I was about to say, like, look out for our second post because Steph will probably make like a recap of the day. But like, do we have enough footage? You know what? I think we do have all
the bows. That's what I'll say.
The bows, but also like, do we have? I think we do have footage all the way of us like at the airport. So maybe we just do a dramatic day.
Maybe just like a slideshow.
Yeah.
A carousel of just our day.
Good.
Just like us at the airport.
I have to go through my photos, yeah.
We'll see what we got. But yeah, this is actually, it kind of brings me to what I think makes this jukebox musical unique. And I'm going to bring in a comparison to another sort of jukebox musical here. I think the casting of Jonathan Groff is so integral to the show. And the closest comparison I have is the musical The Boy from Oz, where
Hugh Jackman.
So in The Boy from Oz, you never forget that you are watching Hugh Jackman on stage performing. There is kind of like the line between who Hugh Jackman is and who Peter Allen is blurred. And I think it's the exact same thing in Just in Time. You are introduced as Jonathan Groff. You never forget. I don't even think he's really doing a full impression of Bobby Darin, but he is your introduction, your way in, and it is such a star vehicle. And so even though you're not like, oh, I don't know if this is exactly an impression of Bobby Darin, but you're watching a super charismatic performer right now, so you have an idea of what it would have been like to watch a super charismatic performer in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought The Boy from Oz was about Hugh Jackman because that's what I knew about that musical. Obviously not. It's about a real life
We literally covered it earlier this year.
I know, but before we covered it, that's what I thought it was about.
Yeah.
I thought it was... You know, Hugh Jackman also vehicle. The Boy from Oz, like, in his real life.
So true. A star vehicle for Hugh Jackman, and that line is blurred between the character and the performer. Well, and I think Just in Time and The Boy from Oz kind of occupy that same space. I don't think there's any other jukebox musicals that do kind of a similar thing.
No, I agree with you. It's also because, like, you know, when Jonathan starts the performance, he comes out and says, "Hi, I'm Jonathan. I'll be your Bobby Darin tonight." So that already like breaks the I'm not playing Bobby Darin. I'm just playing him today type thing, which obviously he plays him every day. But I've heard him talk about this in interviews before, and it's a moment in the show that happens once at the beginning and once at the end that he sometimes like gets emotional with, and it's when he says that like, him and me were so similar, we both love this. And it's like he's pointing to the audience and himself of that like audience like interaction. And it's just like immediately from the like jump we've broken that fourth wall of, okay, we're just here for this like fun retelling of this like classic singer's life story. Now, what I will say is that like it does follow the classic, I would say, like format of, you know, something that we've talked about previously that we don't love
Birth to Death.
About a bio jukebox is like the full lifespan. Obviously, he died very young. He was only 37.
Yeah, so we didn't really have to like go so far, but a birth to death story.
But we're going through girlfriends and best friends and wives and all the way until like he dies basically at the Copacabana. So like there's nothing original in the structure of this like jukebox musical. But I'm not bothered by it because it feels more like a review than a show, I would say.
I think the set really adds to it, and like the environment that you're in makes it feel so much more personal than a typical jukebox musical like A Beautiful by Carole King or like a Tina. Like a Summer, like a Cher show.
Like really, A Beautiful Noise, which you will see next year.
A Beautiful Noise, can't wait. You're really brought in. And that framing device of, you know, kind of Jonathan Groff introducing and talking about why he right now is playing Bobby Darin. It like justifies its existence in the current moment. By speaking about, you know, by relating it to a current performer, a current like charismatic performer in Jonathan Groff. So I think that is like what sets it apart. But yes, like the actual plotting,
very standard.
He was born, he records some songs, he dies. Like that's basically it.
Yeah.
He has a shocking maternity, paternity, whatever reveal.
At the 11th hour. It's crazy.
Parentage review. So not to spoil.
Yeah. But also, like, as you were saying, like, the experience, so let's talk about that. When we got into the theater, you know, I've been in the Circle and Square a couple times now. You've been in the Circle and Square before. We've never seen it look like this.
A few times.
It's stunning in there.
Yes.
It's a beautiful blue nightclub. It's David Corns, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, David Corns.
A beautiful David Corns set. You know, Alex Timbers directed this, and... We'll get to some moments.
We'll get to Alex Timbers
written all over this. But I do think that it was, like, really important to set the stage, quote unquote, because it never once was it was just so weird. Like, I've seen Fun Home in there, and I've seen Once on This Island in there, and I love that theater because it's so, like, it can be transformed into anything. And... I don't know, it was just like, it was so cool. And again, like, to be standing where we were standing, I thought had a really great vantage point of all
I don't think there's any really bad spots in that theater.
Definitely not, but
there's only like 9 or 10 rows.
We were thrilled to have, you know, everybody run by us at certain moments. There's moments when I, like, wasn't even watching what was happening on stage because Jonathan Groff was, like, leaning against a wall emoting. And, you know, when he ran by us in the Splish Splash row, that was iconic. That's when I saw
like
Tom
a bear
Hanks
in his
for
socks,
the first time.
in his socks and his little rubber duckies. He's just running behind us.
But yeah,
the scenic design is Derek McLean.
Oh,
not. David Corns.
Sorry, David Corns. I just see your name attached to everything that I assumed it was you, but Derek McLean did Moulin Rouge, so that makes even more sense.
With Alex Timbers collaborator, Catherine Zuber, who also did the Moulin Rouge costumes.
Right. So he's got his crew. He likes the same people.
Yeah.
Which is great. But yeah, I couldn't imagine it looking any different. Like, you need that nightclub aspect, I think, for this version of this show to work. The band on stage, which is amazing. But even the way that they've, like, transformed it, if you watch any of the Broadway.com vlogs, there's, like, the elevator lift, obviously, that Jonathan spends a lot of time in. There's, like, really cool trapdoor moments for, you know, costume changes.
His costume changes are just happening on stage. People
are,
like, reaching their arms out, putting, like, jackets on him.
Yes, the, like, 70s style outfits that he wears. There's this one sweater that he wears early that I was, like, obsessed with. But yeah, it's just, like, really fun. Obviously, like, the average age of the audience is not us. Everybody is, you know, especially on a Sunday at 2 p.m., everybody is, like, 70 plus. But, like, those are the people that love this music, and let me tell you, they were having the best time. The man that pulled out his phone to record Master Knife, and then the usher ran up and said, please delete that. Like, iconic, sir. Great job.
It was iconic. You know, yeah, like, the etiquette, not there. But that was his favorite song. He's like, yeah, I gotta record Mac the Knife. Like, full phone up. Like, not even
close to the chest. It was so high. Yeah, it was so high in the sky.
He's, like, zooming. He was, like, we were kind of behind him, so we were watching it. It was very funny. But, yeah, during Mac the Knife, which is the Act 1 finale, it's just, like, gotta record. People gotta know I'm here.
So funny. Yeah. Should we talk about the cast?
Yeah, let's talk about the stunning cast. I mean, we talked so much about Jonathan Groff here, giving a tour de force charismatic performance.
He's giving a masterclass performance. It's actually unbelievable.
His dancing. I'll shout out Shannon Lewis here, who this is, I think, her Broadway choreography debut. Like, she's been in ensembles before, but her Broadway choreography debut. And I really love what she did. Well, she, like, gave Jonathan Groff private dance lessons leading up to this.
He said he rehearsed for 11 weeks to get ready for this. And then I watched him on Josh Horowitz's podcast. I can't remember what it's called. Sad Confused.
Happy Sad Confused.
And he said that, you know, in between, like, Merrily stuff, he was doing, like, workshops for this, but he was so committed to, like, nailing the dancing. And he's great. He looks great on that stage. Like,
so relaxed. Yeah. So it's so, like, in his body. You know, Bobby Darin was a charismatic performer. He was not dancing the way Jonathan Groff is dancing in this show. No. But I do think there needs to be an element of, like, drama. It has to be, like, elevated a bit in the theatrical sense to really convey the kind of charisma that you were working with in like the 50s and 60s.
He was also talking about the fact that, like, you know, there's so much audience interaction that goes on. There's that one table that's kind of in the center that
it's like a bit bigger than the other tables.
They sit at, he stands on, he dances on, then he obviously like dances with someone during the curtain call. And he said that like that was such an integral part to this storytelling because Bobby Darin would often interact with like fans.
The relationship with the audience was so important.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why there's like more dance elements than ever. But I mean, here's the thing: go listen to that cast recording because like what you hear on that is exactly what we heard live. Like he's perfect. He is so good. He's always been so good. But I think specifically in this, like he said to Josh, he is having the time of his life. This was recorded. It was sometime in May. I want to say it was early May when he did this podcast because Josh was like, how are you going to find a work-life balance? He was like, maybe I'll think about it in June or July. But he basically just said that, like, because he's so invested in this and because he, like, relates so much to the subject, like, material and it was a fan of Bobby Darin himself, he's like, it doesn't feel like work. He's like, he said that his dresser told him that he's only off stage for 45 seconds every show. Minus like intermission, obviously, but like, and he said, I don't even notice that. Like, it doesn't feel like that to me because he's just so
like he's just living
in it. Yeah, which is, you know, amazing. But also, I'm like, is this sustainable? I don't know. But again, it's selling till January. He's been doing it since April.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like. I don't think he can be replaced in this. I don't think that there's anybody that is at the same level as Jonathan Groff in today's like theater industry that like is one, like the way that he is, and two, like this like resilient that probably would never like miss a performance. I just don't think that, and I don't mean that in like an offense to any of the Broadway leading men. I just don't see it. I think there's only one Jonathan Groff.
I agree. I think he is so one of a kind in, you know, we spoke about in Merrily We Roll Along, you know, the character of Frank, a lot of times people find him really, really unlikable.
Yeah.
And I think what solved that problem was casting Jonathan Groff, who brings such like an innate like lovability to everything he does, and like he's so charming and sweet and it comes through everything. So even when, let's say, Frank was doing these, you know, making these questionable choices, like Jonathan Groff's energy shone through and brought something to Franklin Shepard that I don't know has that ever been brought before. And I think there's something so unique to his like stage energy that cannot be recreated. So yeah, I don't know who you replace. I'm sure they're having these conversations all the time, like what do we do when it's time for him to leave?
Yeah.
But
did we discuss that he's been with this project for like 8 years?
Yes. I don't think we did discuss it, but I think, yes, like 8 years ago, at the 92nd Street Y, he did a night of Bobby Darin music. There was not coming to me.
Well, sorry, before this, there was a musical in Australia already called Dream Lover.
Yes.
Which has no relation to this production.
Right. I believe they had the rights to Bobby Darin. So they had to get kind of a waiver to be able to do this weekend of concerts at the 92nd Street Y. And they kind of got that because they're just like, you know, it's just one night or one weekend. And Bobby Darin's son, Dodd, mentioned in Just in Time, really loved the Australian Dream Lover. That was a big hit there. So it was kind of unknown if this would ever be able to be turned into anything. I don't think when that concert happened, they ever thought that it would turn into anything. So, sorry, it was Ted Chapin who pitched this idea to Jonathan Groff. It was directed at the time by and developed by Alex Timbers, music supervisor, these like the same creative team, people, music supervisor, arranger, Andrew Resnick, choreographer, Shannon Lewis, and conceived by Ted Chapin. And they kind of went to Groff and said, are you interested? And I don't think he knew that much about Bobby Darin at the time either.
No, he said that he knew about this production, but I
Dream
think
Lover,
that's because
like,
he was like,
musical?
As he was starting to learn more about Bobby Darin, I think he was just like researching everything. Did he see
I think he had an Australian boyfriend at the time.
Well, then there you go.
I'm remembering now Jonathan Groff having an Australian boyfriend, and he was like in Australia for a bit, so I think he might have like met Dodd there or seen it there.
Yeah, because for this production, like, he's talked about the fact that, like, they've spoken to his son, like, his son has seen this, like, everything has been, you know, like, discussed. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what Dream Lover looks like in relation to something like this. But he did say that concert that happened, like, 7 or 8 years ago, it was presented the exact same way, where he went up and said, I'm Jonathan Groff, and today I'm playing with Bobby Darin. Like, it was always going to be this, like, Jonathan Groff show
vehicle.
Yes.
I don't think they ever expected it to move beyond that little weekend, but I think they had something special with that concert, and they couldn't let it go. Oh, there's a cast album. Should I listen to it?
Wow, Dream Lover.
I'm on the Wikipedia.
So interesting. But yeah, it's hard because, like, I listened to Mickey Joe Theater's review of this show, and he also really liked it, but he had the same question about, like, what happens when
does it outlive its cast? Yes,
and he basically said, like, you know, is Jonathan Groff also now, like, almost like the Bobby Darin in this sense that he said, like, the person that he used was like, okay, so let's say someone like a Derek Klena comes in, and it's like, well, Derek Klena tonight is playing Jonathan Groff, who's playing Bobby Darin. Like, is that how we're framing this now? Like, that would be, we can't be that meta on these things. It's just
no,
like,
I don't. I have thought about, so the understudy, the standby, Matthew Magnuson, who did do Broadway and Bryant Park. He did Splish Splash for Broadway and Bryant Park. So we have, you know, seen a little bit of his Bobby Darin. They've said that they would write a new monologue for every single person that plays Bobby Darin in this show. So what I imagine if he had to go step in on Broadway is he would be like, ladies and gentlemen, I am not Jonathan Groff. I think you have to reference that people are expecting to see Jonathan here, and you'd have to play up that part. I do think there are ways to do that, but I also can't imagine how disappointed an audience would be, even though I'm sure Matthew Magnuson is fantastic and would be fantastic in this. Like, the audience is so expecting Jonathan Groff.
The man is on the playbill. He's on the poster. He's on every single possible piece of everything.
Just in time.
Exactly. And then also to your point of you saying that, like, you know, on stage he's all this, but we've also heard that off stage he's even more. Like, he is the most, like, he talks to everybody. He's hanging out in everybody's dressing rooms. He's committed. Like, he is there for everybody. So it's just like, I don't know. I think he is very rare in this industry. And that's why everyone knows always, like, protect Jonathan Groff at all costs.
He's from Amish country. I really do think it's his Amish upbringing. I really do think this, like, farm
yeah, you're probably right.
Life.
Yeah.
I think it instilled this, like, humbleness in him. This, like, kind-heartedness. I don't know this man. But, like, what comes across.
Yeah. We can't even tag him in this video because he has no social media. Which is also for the best. Like, he's really doing everything correctly.
Tag Leah Michelle.
Yeah, she'll show him. That's how he gets all his information these days.
She reads it to him.
Yes, exactly. Other people in this cast, I mean, we have to talk about the star turn role.
So unexpected.
Performance. Gracie Lawrence, you are an icon. Like, I am so obsessed with her. I just remember when we saw this, I don't even remember who was in the running to be nominated for Best Feature Actress in a Musical, but I was like, drop everything, she's being nominated. Like, there was no way. And she was, rightfully so. But as soon as this girl opened her mouth to sing, oh my God, what's the first song that she sings? With Groff.
They sing My First Real Love together? Is that what we're looking for?
Yes. As soon as she started singing that, I was like, I cannot believe the voice on this little body. Like, it's insane. And then ever since, I've, like, been obsessed with her. I watch every video that comes out. I am obsessed with the two versions of, like, Lawrence's stripped back versions of Teenage Love and Who's Sorry Now. The performance of Who's Sorry Now on the Kelly Clarkson show and on Good Morning America, the Today Show. Like, this woman's voice live is unbelievable. Like, she is one of the best singers I've seen, I think, live. Like, it's crazy that, you know, we skipped her opening at the Jonas Brothers. And now knowing what I know, I would have been there, Gracie.
We didn't even have a ticket at the time she was singing, to be fair.
We didn't.
We were outside the stadium at that point. Yeah, I just remember seeing that first curtain call video and hearing someone sing in the background and thinking, who is that? And on another angle, I'm like, oh, it's Gracie Lawrence. That's crazy. I did not expect her voice to sound like that. She really has like an iconic, amazing voice.
Oh my God, it's so good. She's playing Connie Francis.
So well.
I didn't say.
Yes, playing Connie Francis, and she really has her big moments in Act 1, and then kind of just like little small moments in Act 2 with a horrible wig.
I was gonna say different wig moments in Act 2, but then she really comes back out strong for that
return
mega
and a
mix.
good wig for the finale.
And she sings Mac the Knife with Erica Henningsen, and then, you know, she does her, like, little ad-libs during Splish Splash on the stage. She's incredible, and I, like... So here's another person. So she is going on tour with her band Lawrence in October. So, like...
She's leaving.
Well, they've now added Gabby... Oh, my God, what's her last name? C. Something with a C.
Gabby Campo? Gabby Karuba?
Karuba. Okay. From Dear Evan Hansen?
Maybe.
I think that's her last name. She is, if it is her, confirm the last name. She was a Zoe in Dear Evan Hansen. She has a beautiful voice. But she is the understudy for both Sandra Dee and Connie Francis now. She's been on for Gracie a couple times, just because Gracie's been doing, like, Lawrence things. But I wonder if in October she will fully step up to be, like, the new full-time Connie Francis. Because... yeah, Lawrence is going on tour. She was supposed to go on tour earlier this year, but they pushed the tour for Broadway because this was something that was, like, really important to her. Sorry, to her brother Clyde, because, you know, it's only it's her and her brother and the band. But, you know, when your sister gets Broadway, I guess you just do that.
You gotta move on. You gotta change it up.
So the tour was pushed to the fall, and I don't think people thought that Just in Time was going to be, like, as successful as it's proved to be. They probably thought it was going to be, like, a shorter run, but nope, we're still going here. Is it Gabby Karuba? Did you look?
It is Gabby Karuba, yes, I looked it up.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens to her in October.
She arrived, it says, on July 22nd, and she is the Sandra Dee and Connie Francis standby replacement.
Oh, standby.
So I don't know if they're going to upgrade, but yeah, she's the standby for both of them.
Okay, interesting.
I wonder if someone else left.
Yeah, I don't know. And then, you know, one of our favorites, Erica Henningsen, back on stage.
Yeah.
In a beautiful...
You know who knows how to do a vlog? This girl knows how to do a vlog. Some of these vlogs are not good, guys.
No, she
but
started off so strong with her 2 Girl for School vlogs in Mean Girls days. And then, you know what? Playbill said, give that woman the camera again. Or sorry, Broadway.com, I guess, said it. Because... she's so good. She takes you into everybody's dressing room. She's taking you backstage. We're in the elevator lift with Jonathan Groff. Like, she's in the lobby asking people what they think of the show. Like, I'm obsessed.
We're recording the cast album. We're on
they did a special episode for the cast album.
To come back.
No, I was obsessed. Yes. There was one episode, I don't remember the song, but there's one episode when the musical director, what's his name? Jason Resnick? Is that who it is? As the MD? I'm not sure. I believe. Or the conductor, Andrew Resnick, sorry.
Andrew Resnick.
There's a moment, I don't remember exactly where it is. I think there's a song when Groff gets on the piano for a bit and he leaves. So he goes backstage to conduct, and it's like, it's the tiniest little hallway I've ever seen. And obviously Erica's got the camera, like, straight in his face. And he's conducting to the camera that the rest of the musicians are watching until Jonathan leaves. And then he sprints back to the stage. And it's just like, this is the content we deserve.
This is stuff we want. We want to see people changing Groff's costume, especially because Sandra Dee does not appear till Act 2.
No.
So she really does have that first hour plus of the show to just be backstage. I wonder what her call time is, if it's, like, after the show has started. Or if it's before.
I don't know. She's in the vlog, she was getting there before the show started. But then, you know, like, hanging out with the audience before.
Yeah. She's like, I don't have to be in hair and makeup for another hour, so I'm good. Yeah. What do you think of Just in Time?
Yeah. Obsessed with her costumes in this show, too. She looks so beautiful.
That pink dress that she wears at the beginning of Act 2, where she's kind of blending in with the sirens as they all walk out. They're in Italy. Beautiful. The sunglasses, the little parasols, so beautiful. No, I mean, to me, the most famous person in this musical is Sandra Dee. Like, that's the person who I had the most passing familiarity with. And yes, I think she's just so sweet in this show. I think she also just brings, like, so much of herself to it. Yeah. So fun to watch her, and her voice, great. I feel like she has, like, less to do than Gracie Lawrence has to do. Like, less opportunity to show off than Gracie Lawrence.
Yes.
It's a trickier part.
But it's also interesting because I think she has such an amazing relationship with Groff. So, like, when they do go through that, like, rough patch in the marriage, I believe it, you know? Like, I believe them. But yeah, I just think, honestly, everybody in this cast, like, literally is obsessed with each other because everyone seems to be
having
good
energy.
The time of their
really good energy.
And also, like, at the end of the day, like, yes, it is the Bobby Darin, like, story, but, you know, he's got, like, 4 important women in his life that were kind of, like, at the forefront there with Connie Francis, with Sandra Dee, with his mother, with his sister. The woman that played his mother, Michelle Pock, she was really great, too. Like, I really liked her. And I think they had done a show together previously.
Yes, I agree. They'd played mother and son previously. What show? I don't know
what it was because she said this is my 13th Broadway show, but we're not listing credits. It's giving Shaw Festival.
I know. The Shaw Festival bios this year. I couldn't handle it. Okay.
But then also,
I'm going to do a little search, but keep talking.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I was also going to say, so Emily Burgle was also in Mindhunter with Groff. So, like, there's that little connection, too. There's a little moment in his speech at the beginning where he says something about, like, you might know me from being on your TV screens at Mindhunter. Like, they're really trying to get the audience in. I don't know that I've seen her before, but I think she's just, like, kind of been around.
She's just a veteran.
But she's done a lot of TV. She's great in this, too. You know, we have, like, original cast member from Come From Away, Caesar how do you say his last name?
Where is he again? Caesar Samayoa? That's how I would say it.
He was one of the Kevins in Come From Away.
Yes.
You know, playing, like, Italian
Assistant Kevin.
In this.
Playing many races. Okay, but back to this. In 2008, in an off-Broadway play, Prayer for My Enemy, Michelle Pock played Jonathan Groff's mother.
Amazing.
And Groff himself coaxed her into accepting the role of Polly Just in Time.
That's so nice.
I know. His mother again.
But yeah, there's a crazy moment in Act 2 with Michelle and Emily and Jonathan Groff about, you know, who his real mother is. And
not to spoil.
It
was shocking. That's the thing, because I think, you know, everyone comes in, I guess, with different levels of familiarity with Bobby Darin. But because, let's say, we weren't super familiar with his actual life, we were able to be shocked in a way that maybe we wouldn't be shocked by, let's say, like, MJ the musical, where you kind of just, like, everything about this person is just already so known. So public, exactly. You were able to kind of be caught off guard by certain moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then go ahead.
I was going to say, I also really loved who they call the sirens, the kind of three girls they introduce them in the beginning when Jonathan comes out. He says their real names. In our show, it was Valeria, Christine, and Julia. And they kind of take on so many different parts throughout the show. They're, you know, his backup dancers,
Lollipop,
or his backup
Peggy
singers.
Sue, Molly.
Exactly. Good golly, Miss Molly. But they also play just, like, different characters. They're the ensemble of the show.
Great dancers,
just
too.
Utility players, great dancers doing that Shannon Liu choreography.
Beautiful costumes.
Yes, the amount of costume changes they're doing.
Yeah,
I love those silver, like, kind of paillette dresses with the little, like, silver heels. So fun. Like, they really added, like, color to the show in a great way.
One of them, I can't remember which one it was. It was either Julia or Valeria said in the vlogs that they always wanted to be in, like, the tour cast of Moulin Rouge for the dancing element, and then when they got the audition for this, they were like, "That's fine. This also is good." Yeah,
this is good. Alex Timbers again.
We got high kicks. Should we talk about Alex Timbers?
Should we talk about Alex Timbers? I was gonna say Jonathan Groff's high kick on the Stephen Colbert show. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Alex Timbers. The Alex Timbers of it all.
So, you know, we've actually had the luxury of seeing, we've seen many Alex Timbers, but recently we saw kind of like 2 back-to-back Alex Timbers productions with, you know, Just in Time and the touring production of Beetlejuice, which there will be an episode coming on that later this year.
We also saw the touring production of Moulin Rouge back in the fall. So
right.
That's sort of recent.
Alex Timbers is, like, always in our lives. I love him. I think he's an amazing director. Same. I think he does really, like, innovative and cool choices. But I do think he needs to work on a sick moment.
Another way to represent someone's dying.
Moment. Steph and I, twice this year, have turned to each other and laughed specifically in Just in Time, but then when you turned around in Beetlejuice, I almost lost it. Like,
okay, we need to let's rewind all the way back to 2018. 2018, we drive to Boston to see the out-of-town tryout of Moulin Rouge at the Emerson Colonial. And
I'm going to think about that for the rest of my life, by the way. Like,
I know.
One of the best things we've ever done.
Thrilling theatrical experiences of our lives. That, like, first week of previews of Moulin Rouge.
Crazy.
Out of town. Okay, and if you're familiar with Moulin Rouge in any way, Satine is dying of consumption. Yeah. I don't know. So during, like, Diamonds Are Forever, and in other songs throughout the and in other moments throughout the show, we show her getting increasingly ill, and what they do is they change the lighting.
It's the most dramatic in the diamond sequence, yes.
Diamond, yes. And you hear this heavy breathing, and everything starts to, like, slow down, and she was like, and we're like, okay, wow, we're representing her dying. Great. Now we're watching Just in Time, okay? We're here just in time. You know, as we know, Bobby Darin has a heart condition. During Mac the Knife, he's standing on a table that two people are sitting at. The table is, like, spinning.
So fast.
It's spinning so fast. Like, people are right there. Like, the core strength this took. And what happens to him? The light goes up, it slows down, he starts doing a heavy breathing. I'm like, oh, he has one trick. This man has one trick.
And then...
Okay. And then, we're seeing Beetlejuice on tour in Toronto. And what is this? It's like the Girl Scout song?
It's the Girl Scout song. It's at the beginning of Act 2. She
Girl
also
Scout
has a
asthma?
heart condition.
She has a heart condition. And what happens to her?
Red
the light changes. The lights. Then we do, like, a little slow mo. She does the breathing. Like, and I was sitting in front of you. We were, like, around in front of and I just, like, turned around and looked at you. Until that moment, I'd forgotten Alex Timbers had directed this. But in that moment, I was like...
What a trademark. That's something
it was so funny.
He's known for, but it's crazy because, like, I remember...
Twice is a coincidence. 3 times.
that's on purpose, Alex Timbers.
3 times
we
in the
have
last
your
year
number, sir. It's just funny because, like, I don't know, like, you can do a moment of, you know, almost dying so many ways, but the fact that he chooses it to be so dramatic and it's like an echoed breathing every single time is just, like, comedy to me. It's not on the cast recording of Just in Time.
No, I don't think it is.
It is on the cast recording of Moulin Rouge. And
yes,
I think it's also on the cast recording of Beetlejuice. I have to go back.
I don't think
I've
ever listened to that song of Beetlejuice.
I haven't, like, since I saw it, but, like, I saw Beetlejuice on Broadway and, like, forgot that happened. And I saw Moulin Rouge that trip also with my mom and, like, didn't clock it until, like, this moment. Because, yeah, it's very important. I'm just like, what else has Alex Timbers directed where someone dies or almost dies and they also have this?
I'm looking at his credits. We never saw Rocky.
Oh,
so
it probably
and, like, no one, like, dies, but, like, I can imagine something sort of similar happening, like the heavy breathing. I don't think anything like this was happening in American Utopia, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Here Lies Love. This never happened.
No.
Gutenberg?
I don't think so.
No. I want to bring us back to kind of the show that made me fall in love with Alex Timbers, and that is Peter and the Starcatcher.
Right.
I saw that.
Did this happen?
No. I don't think anyone died, but I saw that in 2012 on Broadway. We were trying to see Once, then Once was sold out, so we kind of randomly bought tickets to this. And I just, like, fell in love with that show. I think about it so often. I wish I could see another production of it somewhere else. Like, one of my favorite things I've ever seen, and just, like, the creativity, the ingenuity of direction specifically in that show. And part of it is writing, but so much of it is direction. These, like, 12 cast members playing every single role, every single set piece, like, very minimal props, and just changing between, I don't know, so many different things. And, like, from that moment on, I was loyal to Alex Timbers. I will see anything he does.
I mean, here's the thing, like,
we saw Here Lies Love.
Like, we have to put respect on his name for being so creative and trying things. He is not someone that's just like, I'm taking the easy route. Like, I'm just sitting back and
it's high concept directing.
He's always thinking about, how can I push the boundaries? How can I do something that's like that
Speaking
people
of, like,
haven't
Rocky.
seen before? How can I transform every space that I walk into
100%.
with a set designer? Like, he is really thinking big picture instead of, like, just the show itself. And I really appreciate that in a director. I love him. I'm like, we need a new trick for people that are dying.
It's really funny.
It's just funny that it's all the exact same way every single time.
His signature moment.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
funny.
the Beetlejuice one was the funniest one, especially because it was such a non-necessary thing. Like, this Girl Scout is, like, we never see her again.
No,
So,
she has a, yeah, she's literally gone, like, right after that, but she basically is, she says at the beginning of the song that, like, she has a heart murmur, and then they scare her, and they have this, like, scare, and she pulls out, like, her heart monitor, but, yeah.
that's so
I
funny.
was just like, when it happened during Just in Time, I was like, I cannot believe that this is happening right now. But, like, it was
was
fine. It fit.
No, it was iconic. Like, speaking of Mac the Knife, that moment, I never thought I would cry to the song Mac the Knife. I never thought Mac the Knife would bring me to tears like this. And it did this time. Just, like, the almost desperation, in this song, in this moment, was just so special.
Is there not a song list in this playbill?
No, there's not. I'm on the cast album, though, on Spotify looking right now.
Because I was going to say, yes, for sure in that song, but then also the song right before he does die, when he does that, like, big performance at the Copacabana, like, he really leaves everything on the stage.
Once in a lifetime, that's all what he did kind of on the Tonys, sort of.
Yeah.
Yes, that also is great.
See, that's the thing, like, talking about Groff and how consistent he is, like, this is not, like, this is
it's high energy.
Heavy, high energy show. He is singing.
It's a big sing.
There's, like, 21 songs, and then there's, like, bonuses on this cast recording, but there's 21 songs, including the curtain call medley, and, like, he's in almost every single one of them. I think if he's not singing, he's standing on the stage, and if he's not, like, he's just always there doing something. So, like, this is a heavy sing, for sure.
Yeah. Should we skip with what I was going to say also another moment I cried, like, bringing us back to the ending and, like, kind of the monologues that Jonathan Groff was doing. Just thinking about times I cried during this show. You know, we were talking about the monologue that he does kind of at the end before he sings the final song, kind of after Once in a Lifetime, That's All, before the final song, The Curtain Falls. He speaks about, you know, how, like, live performance is so much about the relationship with the audience. And then he said, you know, it's just happening here in front of you right now. Like, it's already disappearing. It's already going away. Like, it'll be over soon. And I was like, wow, it really, like, that's so true. Like, that is what is special about, like, to me, why we keep, I think, going back, is that it's, like, in the moment, and then once it's over, it's over. Like, you can never revisit that exact thing as much as you, even if you go back the next day, it's never
times.
But even still, it's different every time. Like, that exact experience is not like turning on a movie where the actors make the exact same choices every time. It's defined every single time. The people around you are different. The actors are, it's a different day. So it'll never be what it was. And, like, acknowledging that, speaking of that, before kind of the, like, closing song, The Curtain Falls, before the finale. I don't know. I was touched. I was touched.
I also just think, like, it also speaks to just, like, you know, theater actors in general. Like, I've had this conversation with my parents many times recently, because my parents are seeing, you know, all the musicals again now that I'm doing this, and we get to see them together. But, like, my dad is, like, so in awe of these performers and what they do every single day. As you said, like, a movie actor, you know, once that's out there, it's out there. We've talked about this recently with, like, you know, controversies over the last 5 years, and how, like, things were handled, and just how, like, the public is always speaking to you live. There's always, like, a live reaction, and then whatever that reaction is, you have to go out there and perform, like, 20 minutes later, the next day, for the next 8 performances. Like, it is so impressive what these people do. So to hear, almost, like, again, to break that, like, fourth wall when Groff is, like, talking about that and why he loves that so much, I'm just like, oh, this is, at the end of the day, this show is like a love letter to theater. And
to live performance, that relationship between performer and audience.
Exactly. And, like, to the craft. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know, we should think about this more, like, objectively. Like, people should think about this more when, like, they see things. Because, like, at the end of the day, these people are just, like, giving their all for you that are paying, like, so much money to see them, you know?
Yes.
But, yeah, I think, like, that's why we see as many things as we do, because, like, I, from the audience perspective, love the interaction with the artist as well. So I'm happy to hear that it's, like, mutual, you know, that, like, the artist also loves, like, the reaction.
That they're feeding off it as well, that, like, that they are as addicted to it as the audience is.
Exactly.
I was just reminded of, so in Toronto, it'll be done by the time this episode's out, but in Toronto we've had this production of Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812 happening recently, and me and you saw it last Thursday, and as we were leaving, I was like, that cannot be my last time.
You're like, I have to go again. And then
so I was like, I gotta go again. And so I like made it happen to like go again, and I brought my mom who hadn't seen it, and because I really thought she would love it, and she did. And as like the last time, as like the full like abduction sequence was happening, I was like, soak it in. I was like in my mind like, remember this. Like remember this feeling. I was like, and I was sitting in a different spot, so I was like looking at different things during different moments, you know, because I was in the orchestra. So watching all of the like cast members run through the aisles like beside me, like Balaga Andrew Penner just going crazy through these aisles or during different moments, just like trying to see different and like memorize that. But like at the end of the day, like it is ephemeral. It will never be. Once it's gone, and once I'm gone, it's over. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm just making myself sad.
The end? Is that the end of the episode? Are we done right now? That's it.
I know.
You know what? Thanks for listening, everybody.
Anyway. No, it was a good show to like remind us like why like live theater is so special, and like why we keep going back, why we dedicate so much time and energy to
and
this.
Money.
And money.
And money. You know, we're always reminded whenever there's these trends come up of like, we have a very expensive hobby, but like I'd rather have this than like, you know, something else. Yeah. Do you have a favorite song?
Do I have a favorite song? This is a really good question. So when I came home and there was no cast album yet,
there was like 3 tracks.
Like pressing play on actual Bobby Darin.
Oh, right.
Playlists. And so I have like some like favorite songs that I love like of Bobby Darin's, but I'll shout out a few and then I'll say kind of like my overall favorite that I think I just love. I've been loving listening to like Lazy River. I've been loving listening to like Once in a Lifetime. But I would have to say probably my favorite that I like keep going back to is The Curtain Falls, which is kind of what Bobby sings like at the end, and it kind of became like his signature song. He would sing it, and it is kind of about that relationship with the audience and with performing, and I just get like emotional every time I hear The Curtain Falls. And like at the end the lines are like, I was made for this and I get paid for this. Like, can you believe how lucky I am? I get to do this and make money and my life doing it. And then he died.
I watched him chug 2 bottles of wine before he sang that song at the like vanity that he was sitting at.
Yeah, like everyone else is like doing like a eulogy to him and he's just like chug.
It literally was that. It was crazy.
Because he just has like 2 songs left to go, like for The Curtain Falls and then that like medley at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you? What's your favorite song?
I mean, as a Gracie Lawrence stan, it's Who's Sorry Now. It's literally like as soon as we left and as soon as those like Lawrence versions were released, but also when she did her morning show run, I was obsessed. And it's so good on the cast recording. She holds this like crazy long note at the end, and I just like, there's nothing better to me than that. I could pick any Groff song, but like I need to shout out my star, Gracie Lawrence.
Your star, Gracie Lawrence. I know,
robbed of the Tony. Today I'm like, who won Best Featured Actress in a Musical? I still don't even know. Who won?
Best Featured Actress in a Musical?
We were there. We've done all of the precursors. We watched the awards. Who won?
Buena Vista Social Club.
Did they? Oh, yes, you're right. Natalie Venetia Balcon.
Yes, Buena Vista Social Club.
See,
I was like, I don't think we saw this one.
I don't
think we saw this musical. Because we saw all the other acting winners, but we didn't see her.
Who was featured actor?
It's coming to me. So, Darren Criss won.
Yeah.
Jack Malone. Jack
Malone. Yes, you're right.
Who won Best Actress again? Oh, Nicole. Like what happened? This is so recent.
It's like the Tony Awards. Like, who won? No, I really was like stuck on featured actors because like to me the winner was Gracie Lawrence. Obviously, no, there was actually so many people like that we loved and saw this year. But yeah, I also like Groff's performance of Splish Splash. I also think on like Good Morning America or the Today Show, one of the two, just type it in. He does the full costume and choreo. Yeah. So like if you're in for a little taste of that, I would watch that performance.
I saw a little clip today of actual Bobby Darin kind of in that
bath.
fake bathtub
Yeah,
thing, like
good.
pulling his head out, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, they didn't, like, they pulled it directly from one
Yeah.
of his performances. Like, that's so funny.
There's also a couple, you've seen them, I've seen them, but there's a couple like amazing videos on Broadway.com, like Paul Wontorek with in the rehearsal room with Jonathan Groff.
Yes.
Where you kind of see like the
With, like,
behind
Shannon
the scenes
Lewis.
making of that moment.
Yes.
There was also another interview with Paul and Groff in like the Broadway.com offices where they were talking about the fact that, you know, Groff is 40 now and he's outlived Bobby Darin at this point, who died at 37. I also was just thinking about this today. It has like no actual relation, but like it reminds me also of like Jonathan Larson, who ran out of time. And it's interesting that like those two, like Tick Tick Boom kind of like focuses on time, but just like Jonathan Larson's like life was always like a ticking time bomb, for like lack of better term, and like Just in Time also plays on the concept of time. So I just think it's like interesting that these like young and sad, obviously very sad, that these like young creatives
who almost feel like who almost feel like they know that their time is not going to be forever, so they have to make this impact like while they're still.
And it was
there.
interesting too, because in this podcast I listened to with like Josh Horowitz's podcast, he was like, have you ever like thought about the concept of time and like what that means to your life? And Groff was like, I can't live like that. He's like, I just like choose to live like every day as is, and like I love what I'm doing and continue at that. But like, yeah, it's so interesting when you're playing a character, and again at this point he's like outlived him, to think about that is like kind of, you know, a little morbid and eerie and interesting. But I don't know, I'm sure at one point when he was studying about his life he thought about this, especially when he was 37 at the age that he was. I'm sure he probably thought a lot about like what it would mean at that time. So yeah, it's just like interesting. And again, like I would recommend this. I think we talked about this when we saw this. Like I would recommend this to like literally anybody as again a bio jukebox hater. But I feel like this one, maybe it's the Groff of it all, but I think that this one does kind of like, I don't know, stand up a little bit above the rest. Yeah.
There's a central performance in there that is so special, that, and also I do think it like justifies its own existence, like why, like because it's so much about like live performance and, as we said, like the relationship between the audience and the performer, and so you kind of need to have that like intimate relationship. So yeah.
Should we rate it?
Yeah, let's rate it. Okay, I am going to give Just in Time 8 out of 10 mermaids. You know, like the mermaid that came out for 1 second?
Yes, it was his sister, wasn't it? I think
Yes, I think it was Emily Burgle as
like
the mermaid.
Rolls in as
they're always talking about the mermaid in the vlogs because it's her like brief shining moment.
Exactly.
So yeah, 8 out of 10 mermaids.
I'm also going to give this 8 out of 10. If we gave half points, I probably would give this an 8.5, but we don't. No. But I can't quite give it a 9, you know? Like, it's still a bio jukebox at the end of the day, even though I loved it. But I'm going to give it 8. The plot is thin at the end of the day. Exactly. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 Alex Timber's death moments.
There you go.
That is our thoughts on Just in Time, and now it's time for our obsession of the week. Okay, Steph, what's your obsession?
Okay, so I recently was, my attention was brought to this podcast episode, this series that they did on this podcast called Freakonomics. I hadn't listened to anything on them before, but there are kind of 2 series that I listened to in the past few days that I thought were very interesting, very relevant to this podcast. So one was from about last June, and if you're interested, the podcast is Freakonomics, and this series was episode 592 and 593, and they are about the play Stereophonic, and they have interviews with David Adjemi, all the producers, some of the cast. We got a lot of Sonia Friedman on this. And really, really interesting stuff about, you know, one of the episodes is called You Can Make a Killing But Not a Living, what it means to like be an artist and like survive as an artist. So that was really interesting. But I want to get to the real meat of what we're going to talk. Episodes 629, 630, and 631.
Also, like, sorry, damn, 600 episodes
I know.
Of a podcast?
We're on like, is this 167, 168, something like that?
This is 167, yeah.
167.
Also wild, but...
So yeah, and these people have a team. Like, we don't have a team. This is the team.
This is the team.
This is the team.
The team is me. Steph records, but the team is me.
This is the whole team.
Yeah.
But even like they have a research team, like they have a copy editing team, like they have teams. Like we don't.
And that's why you can frequently hear us typing on our episodes.
I know, we're like frantically on Wikipedia. Okay, no, but what's really happening here is the series is called How is Live Theater Still Alive? On Broadway, Nobody Knows Nothing. And here's the kind of the spoiler. Will 3 Summers of Lincoln make it to Broadway? So these 3 episodes are about kind of explore how a show makes it to Broadway, and they focus on one musical that is trying to make it to Broadway, and it's 3 Summers of Lincoln. So
this is the one at La Jolla, right? That was at La Jolla.
It was at La Jolla.
Yeah.
So I was really interested in kind of the concept of, yes, like how does a musical make it to Broadway? And they're asking lots of questions. How much does it cost? What is the capitalization? All these things, talking to producers, talking to so many people. But they're also kind of following the development of 3 Summers of Lincoln, which is a musical about the friendship between Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, who kind of like disagree, but at the same time also agree on many issues, and just kind of this like sort of antagonistic turns into a friendship relationship over 3 summers, like the 3 times that they met. And so what's really exciting about these is that you get to hear a lot of music and a lot of stuff from it. The host attended like workshops and presentations and recorded stuff, and you're hearing from the writers. So it's Joe DiPietro, Daniel J. Watts. There's another writer whose name is escaping me right now. But where do they have her name here? Crystal Monet Hall, who's one of the other writers. You have your director, it's Christopher Ashley, and you're talking to the team at La Jolla Playhouse. And I think, and it's really interesting to just like hear it in development, hear about what they're working on, what they're not working on. They talk to the cast. So Quentin Earl Darrington, Carmen Cusack is in the show. And then they talk to Lincoln. But the thing with Lincoln is that Brian Stokes Mitchell was originally attached to play Abraham Lincoln, and they spend so much of this first episode talking about how exciting it was to get Brian Stokes Mitchell, and then he dropped out the day before tickets went on sale for La Jolla. And like kind of it said for personal reasons. And the show kind of like talks about that, like losing your star, losing someone who's like developed this musical for like multiple workshops. They don't really know why he dropped out in any way. And I also think the podcast is kind of shady towards Stokes a little bit, as they call him on the podcast, because they're like, we don't know. He did, it could be this, could be this. He's like, I saw him in New York perform in the spring, and he was in good form. Like, we don't know. Like, they really just kind of let it
could be
sit,
anything. It could be like
it could be anything.
It could be
anything.
He's doing a TV
but the show very much like
who knows.
The podcast is very much like not casting doubt, but it really and I'm sure that's what the creative team is thinking. I'm sure that's what the cast is thinking as well. And they asked Carmen Cusack, how does it feel to lose the Abraham Lincoln you've been developing the show with?
Oh my god, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And then they talk to the actor who they brought in as Lincoln. Anyway, it's a really, really fascinating series. I listened to it twice to like really like retain what was happening here. It's really good.
Someone good also replaced.
Yes, they had Ivan Hernandez replaced, and they talked about the process of finding a replacement. So the casting director brought them a list of 30 names after Stokes dropped out. They couldn't reschedule because La Jolla couldn't fill their slot if they canceled, and also who knows when else they would find like a space and get all these other people together at the same time. So they kind of had to just like push forward.
Well, that's the thing. If it's like the day before, even if they were to cancel, they have to pay everybody. Like
it wasn't the day before the show. It was the day before tickets went on sale. Yeah. So like it was December, and it started in like March, basically.
Yeah.
So they didn't have very much time at all. So basically the casting director brought them I would recommend listening to this series because it's really good, but the casting director brought them like 30 people, and then they kind of narrowed it down to like 6 people, and then they kind of went one by one, and it was all people that someone in the team had like worked with before, who was familiar with their work, had seen them in things, because they had to trust that this person would be able to come in and like lead this company and play Abraham Lincoln, which is like a big shoe to fill, especially when you had someone like Brian Stokes Mitchell like developing that part leading up to
and
that.
also Conrad Ricamora was busy, so
Conrad Ricamora was busy and
also
and
playing Lincoln.
They had to raise the keys of the songs because Stokes has like such this like, rich baritone. And Ivan Hernandez like didn't, and then at the end they're like the host is like, I preferred Brian Stokes Mitchell's rendition. Like, bro. It was good. This is This is the stuff I'm here for. So what I'll say is...
That's actually... But it's so interesting because I literally brought this up to you, like, not even that long ago.
We were talking about 3 Summers of Lincoln.
Because
and I was like, I thought Stokes was in this.
Yes, and I was like, no, it's the dad that replaced Dear Evan Hansen. That was my literal exact words.
But I was right, Stokes was in it. I was on Reddit. I was like trying to find if someone was like talking about the drama.
Well, this was the thing. So I was on a Reddit post that was about the 2025-26 season, and someone, which is why I brought this up to you a couple weeks ago, someone was like, if this transfers, this is the best book of a musical. No question, hands down. I was like, oh my God, so interesting. We, at August 19th, have not heard of a transfer of this show.
The podcast says they're aiming for 2026. We will see.
So maybe spring. I think
maybe spring.
As far as I'm concerned, again, we are like holding off on recording the season preview because like it feels so thin right now for the fall. But I almost feel like the fall summer is like set, which is like 2 shows at this point. It's all revivals. This entire season is revivals.
A lot of revivals.
Yeah.
That, you know, they're talking about the economic, like, it's a really interesting like series. I'd recommend it to anyone. You've just like a little bit of a better idea of kind of what it takes to put on a Broadway show, kind of how costs have increased in the past few years.
Oh, yeah.
There's a comparison from like New York to like the West End, what capitalization looks like, just, you know, thinking about, you know, they don't get into a lot of like specific numbers, but they are very forthcoming with kind of the realities of it. They talk a lot about the unions and like how that impacts in the United States so much of the cost, and that's why it's so much more expensive.
How are they getting in the room?
This is like a real podcast. I don't know, but yeah, they requested interviews all these people. It's a real podcast. Even, I know I'm telling you about it, Tara, but I would recommend you listen to these because I think they're very good stuff.
Yeah.
They're really good stuff. And some of the most exciting stuff is you get to hear like demos and workshop presentation stuff from 3 Summers of Lincoln. And some of the music sounds really, really good. And some sounds, to me, a little basic. In my opinion.
Like, again, I just think, you know, if you told me that this was coming, I'd be like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, who's seeing this is always our question at the end of the day. Is like, who is this for? And like, I don't know, people kind of hate America right now. So like, do we need another show about a president? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. And like, Joe DiPietro was approached to write this, and his previously wrote Diana. They talk about Diana a bit.
Classic. Bring it back.
They wrote Memphis.
Okay.
He wrote Memphis, which I did see. I'm a fan. Yeah. And he's written, you know, some other plays. They talk about the reality of licensing school productions, like other ways that shows can make money. Like it's very interesting stuff. And specifically Joe DiPietro brought in like Daniel J. Watts because he's like, I need someone who understands like, I should not be speaking for all of the people that are being represented in this musical. I want to bring in, you know, people who can speak for or who have better understanding of what like the Black people in this story would know. So he brought in Daniel J. Watts and Crystal Monet Hall, who are the other like composer, lyric writer, like really just like interesting sounds and I don't know, really cool stuff, I think. And I think Quentin Earl Darrington, who like I'm a fan of all the way back from Once on This Island, Rain, Let There Be,
so
Let There Be a Car. Okay. And they said like he's kind of the best reviewed person in the show, but like really, I don't know. It just looks really, really cool. The show opens on like a tap dancer with one leg to represent a telegram.
Oh wow.
Like, creative. It looks like a lot of dancing in this show, a lot of movement. Daniel J. Watts is co-choreographer of this show. Like there's a lot.
Interesting. Like
I think there was a lot to be here, but I don't know conceptually if it's calling me. But this podcast like made me intrigued, made me interested, and I think it's like the clearest picture we've got of 3 Summers of Lincoln yet. There's a few clips on the La Jolla Playhouse Instagram that I've gone and watched, and they're talking to like the writers, and there's like some clips of just like what's happening on stage. So that's also interesting to watch, but like these 3 episodes are fascinating.
Can we request that this team goes to meet with the Gatsby team? Because that's actually what I want to hear.
Please, somebody.
There's a workshop that's happened in London in the last month or so. Where are we at, everybody?
Maybe
we need to know.
deeply go on Reddit. I don't know.
I'm gonna DM Freakonomics and be like, hey, can you get an interview with David
please.
Cromer, please? That's actually what I'm interested in.
Please,
the new director of
Florence and
Gatsby.
Martina Mayock. Like, let's go.
Bobby Conte, so we can get to Martina. Yeah.
Just like
anybody. Yeah.
But yes, highly recommend these like 3 episodes. And then I'm gonna kind of try and delve into other Freakonomics. But I started with these series that were like compelling
musical
to me
adjacent.
Here. Yes,
Great.
exactly. So highly recommend.
Should I just clip this entire section for our season preview when we talk about
maybe? And it's just like, and here's what we think about 3 Summers of Lincoln.
Because that was a good 7 minutes.
Okay, Tara, what's your obsession this week?
It's not as in depth or intense as this.
Sometimes I'm like, I should tell Tara I should go second today, but it's okay.
But I recently watched the new Next to Normal Pro Shop.
Wow.
And I don't know where it's streaming currently because it was like a PBS thing for a while, but I think it's been taken off of PBS.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. It might still be on there. It might be on Broadway HD. I have no idea. But I recently watched it. And Casey Levy is everything in this production. I think the way that they filmed it is really great. I also think that the updates that they've kind of made with, it taking place in 2025 is, or 2024, I guess, is super interesting. Costume wise and everything, it's very modern cheese and jeans. There's many devastating, obviously, scenes in this, but specifically there's a moment, I will not say exactly what happens, but she's, oh my god, what's the song that he sings to her that's the
I Dream to Dance or something like that?
Yes, with the music box, that. There's a that scene is so beautiful, and then we get this devastating reveal of her sitting on the ground, and it's very graphic, and I've never seen anything like that before. But and the ending is as devastating as you would think the ending is. The father-son moment is, it's all so good. It's just really good. I think it's really well done. But out of this, I've been listening to the cast recording because I love Casey. I think Jack Wolf is really talented. I think that entire cast. I'm pretty sure you had an obsession with.
We've talked previously about.
Maybe. I think you chose Maybe, the song that. What's it called? The daughter sings with her.
Yeah, I think we both previously talked about when it was on the West End and kind of performances that we'd seen of it. Because as we know, or do we know, I love Next to Normal.
Yes,
this is a formative musical to me.
Yeah.
But I haven't really delved into the West End production at this time.
Because for a moment we thought it was going to transfer.
We did think it was going to come.
But it's not.
But I think it's done. I think it's dead.
It's done. As soon as they filmed it, it was kind of over with.
And it's also just way too late now.
Exactly. But I will shout out a specific song. Casey's version of I Miss the Mountains is literally one that everybody should listen to over and over and over again. She has one of the best voices, I think, in this industry. Yep. And we're lucky to call her one of ours as a Canadian,
Do you remember when we went to see her?
And I was definitely
February
sick.
2020.
Was it February 2020?
Yes.
I definitely had COVID.
Yeah, you were deathly sick with COVID.
I went to see Casey Levy with a fever, and I had to go. And it was worth it.
It was worth it.
And then I was sick for 14 days later.
We all packed ourselves in a car together to go see this.
But nobody else got sick, so that was crazy.
Maybe we were asymptomatic. I don't know.
It was at the Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts. Shout out to them.
Yeah, and she just sang hit after hit.
But she's such a beautiful singer, and
monster.
She's such a great actress, and she's about to be in Ragtime this year, so
I'm excited.
She's booked and busy. We love to see that for her.
But
I don't know where the Pro Shot lives, but if anyone has it, there's lots of clips on TikTok because I feel like when it first came out, TikTok was really obsessed with it. There's also an incredible video of Casey and Aaron Tveit and somebody else who I don't know his name singing I Am the One. And Aaron is playing the dad, which is just what a full circle moment there. And she's wailing at 54 Below. It's just really good. I think she was such a perfect casting for Diana, and to cast her younger is also really interesting. Because not that Alice Ripley was probably that much older than Casey when she played her, but she just looks
Just like the way we
older.
style people now is so different. But yes, realistically they're probably the same age.
But she's in like, in this version in the West End, she's in like a baggy, like cute jean and like a white t-shirt and like
boyfriend
white
jean.
and like Vejas. So I'm like, she's cool.
Not
She
Vejas.
looks great. Like she looks great. So
Yeah, like-
it just like almost adds a different element that like when she's talking to her kids, it doesn't feel like she's that much older than them.
She is, you know,
Which also ultimately makes it more devastating at the end of the day, I think.
yeah, like, you know, she is, as they say, like going through life for the first time too, you know, these are her experiences as well. I'm actually I think we've been through this before, but Casey Leave, I think, was 42 when she started doing it on the West End, and Alice Ripley was, let's say when it opened on Broadway, she was like 46. So like basically the same age, mid-40s.
But like styling is just so different.
Yes.
These days. So,
instead of like the red wrap dress, she just looks like a casual woman.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where you can find it, but if you can find it, watch the pro shot because it's really good. And if you can't find it, then listen to the cast recording because it's also really good. Yeah. That's our obsessions of the week. That's our thoughts on Just in Time. And that's it. I think our next episodes are the season preview, so you can look out for that. But we'll see because at this point it's still a little thin. If there's any shows that people know about that are transferring, you know, leave us a comment somewhere because we're looking at the comments. If you know about anything, like let us know because we'll add it to our list.
Yeah.
We have a running spreadsheet. But in the
Even
meantime,
things that are doing like out of towns in your area maybe, or
yeah, for sure.
workshops we're hearing about, like tentative things we also want to discuss. We want to explore all our options.
Exactly. But in the meantime, you can listen to any of our other episodes by subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment.
And you can follow us on Instagram at Off2BOA Podcast with the number 2, and on TikTok at Off2Broadway.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.